Hey guys, it's Danny. Today I thought we would make a little bit of a light-hearted video, and I thought we could talk about the things that really annoy us. It's not that bad, there are things that are just a bit of a nuisance, and I take them as funny, Isn't that true that you're annoyed by? Yeah, it's true. What to do? It's a thing like that. It's not so deep. So if you're not bothered by any of these things on my list, hey, that's great. I envy you. I'm really curious to know if you guys agree with my list, or if you don't, why. Leave me a comment. And if you have more stuff to add to the list, let me know. So I have a lot of stuff. Once I started to write things that are funnily annoying, I didn't stop. So I might do like 2 parts. But anyway, let's just start. Today will be part 1, and let me know if you agree or not with what I have here. First thing that's on my list, and actually what inspired this list, Nerite snails. I love them and I hate them. Not really. Nerite snails are some of the most beautiful snails in the hobby. And I'm talking both about the big Nerite snails and also the Cladophora snails, the horned Nerite it's called. The big one tends to grow larger and I find it more beautiful. The Cladophora snails tend to be smaller and they don't have really the same quirks, but they all have some of the same quirks. What a beautiful sentence I managed to come up with. Right, so the big Nerite snails, the thing that I really dislike about them is the fact that they like to jump. No, actually they like to very slowly make their way out of the tank, and you can find them on the floor and not like next to the tank. You can find them 10 meters away from the tank, not alive anymore. And even if you have, let's say, a lid on your tank, they will find that open space and they will get out of the tank. That's the thing that I dislike most about them. Unless you have a very tight fitting lid, Nerites can actually find their way out of your tank, and if you don't find them in time, it could be too late. If you do find them on the floor, what I suggest you do is to put them in a glass of water and wait it out. Sometimes, magically enough, they will sprout back to life. Well, no, not really. They do have some stored moisture in their shell, and they can last for hours out of the tank. But there is a limit to those hours. If you find it after a week, it's done. So be mindful with big Nerite snails. Another thing they do that the small ones do as well, the Cladophora snails, I don't know why people say they don't, because they do. They lay those eggs that are just so hard to remove from the glass. Actually, from the glass, it's kind of easy if I think about it, like with a metal scraper, the blade scraper. But from wood and actual plants and their leaves and stuff, which you don't want to rip off, it's very hard to remove. And no fish eats them because they're hard. Now, sadly, nothing will come out of the eggs because these snails need brackish water environment or a saltwater environment. There will be no babies for us from those eggs, just the pesky eggs that nothing and no one can remove except a very thick like metal brush, which sometimes you just don't want to poke in there in your beautiful aquascape, right? So I'm thinking my next iteration of the big tank will have pest snails, which will be kept in check by my rams. I'm gonna maintain the population low by keeping the tank clean and also by animals that eat them. I'm not going to add one Nerite of any type in my tank because I just cannot handle those eggs anymore. I know for a fact you get a little bit irritated by the eggs as well, just a little bit, don't lie. Okay, next on my list, Amano shrimps. Controversial. Amano shrimps are some of the hardiest shrimps you can have. There are 3 things that kind of annoy me about them. Number 1, they're jumpers. Now I have but I have a lid on my tank, but I used to have rimless tanks. I would find them crawling on the floor, literally crawling on the floor. I would get them and put them in the tank. They jump, they're jumpers. Why do they jump? I don't know. From time to time they jump. Sometimes they jumped in between my tanks at a distance of 1 meter. What? They are jumpers. Other than that, they're very robust, so even then they can last on the floor for a few hours, or a few hours, maybe an hour, I don't know, not as much as Nerites, but yeah, it's not fun. Second thing Second thing I dislike about them is that they can become bullies. When they grow to this size, they can grow big. When they become big, they can bully the other shrimps for a piece of food or something. They can even attack shrimplets. Alrighty, sorry about that. I ran out of space on my SD card. So where was I? Yes, they can be bullies. I've seen them bully around Neocaridina shrimps that are obviously smaller than them. So, if you try to mix them, sometimes you'll have some altercations. And the third reason why they annoy me sometimes is that, and especially if they don't have algae to eat anymore, or there isn't enough food like remains and stuff, they can start to attack red plants generally. They love Alternantheras for whatever weird reason. They love to pick at it. And you might say, oh, no, they're just overly cleaning them. Nope. No. They're eating them. Oh, I think they also started to attack one of my echinodoras, the red echinodoras. They have a preference for red plants. Maybe they love anthocyanin, I don't know. So you might want to drop them some pellets or something. And I didn't want to believe it at the beginning when other people have told me, like, no, surely they're over cleaning the... Nope, they're eating the plants. Number 3. Oh, this will be like a more specific one. SCARED Discus, and this is one of, I guess, the traumatic memories that I will be left from the time I had discus. They are so skittish. Any vibration that maybe they don't recognize, and it's run for cover. And they're big fish. When they bump into stuff, they bump into, you hear them. And if I walked the wrong way in front of my tank, and I felt so sad for them because they would like hit the glass and stuff and you would hear it. And whenever I was walking in this room, when I was like opening the door, I was opening it very slowly. And whenever I was walking, I was kind of walking like a ballerina a little bit just to not make those extra vibrations. Why do they have to be so skittish? Is it just me? From what I hear, other people have said the same thing. And especially when you first introduce them, then they get a little bit better, but not completely. Like if my husband ever wanted to look at them, apocalypse now. No. And it can leave scars. It left a scar. Like even now, I'm trying like to approach my tank easy, thinking the fish will go mental, but they don't, because, you know, they're pretty hardy fish and they don't. They just get very happy to see me. But yeah, I still am left with that instinct of walking slowly to my tank. Very, very annoying thing. But don't we love discus? We do. Oh, next one. Next one is a saying that grinds my gears, so I will be a little spicy. The saying, multiple tank syndrome. Don't get me wrong, I do have a very, very developed sense of humor that maybe on this channel I might let loose. It's the dark kind, or, okay, well, some stuff I cannot say, but I do have a sense of humor. I do love dad jokes. Like, I'll give you an example of a joke that cracks me up. 2 kids were counting 1 apple. I get those dry dad jokes. I get that multiple tank syndrome is a dad joke in the end, but I don't get it. It's annoying. What do you mean multiple? It does make it make sense. Make it be funny. It's not. It's not at all. It's annoying. Because why? I like multiple types of food, multiple pieces of clothing, multiple types of music, multiple songs, multiple artists, and I like to have multiple tanks and multiple paintings in my house and multiple plants. It's not funny. And I see some people trying like to feel embarrassed that they have like more than 1 tank. It's a running joke, like, oh, you have multiple tank syndrome, like it's something that you develop and it has this negative connotation, but it's funny. It's like, and people are like a little bit ashamed, like, yes, what to do? No, this ain't it. Is it just me? Do I have an issue? I don't know. Number 5, I'm sure this will annoy many people. Many people in the audience right now will find it very relatable. Floating wood pieces. Now, if you've never, or you're new to planted tanks and aquascaping and things of the sorts, and you're thinking, wow, I'm just gonna put a bunch of rocks and a piece of wood there and then some plants, I'm gonna fill it with water and everything will be cool. It's not the way things go. The way things go typically is that wood pieces are dry and they tend to float. So what we do, except for like those dark driftwoods, I don't know how they're called. Most of the other pieces of wood we use in aquariums, they float. So what people do, if they're small pieces, they either let them float, like, or not float, get soaked in a bucket or a different tank for a couple of weeks or more. Either they weigh them down with rocks, but if you want to have a nice scape from the beginning, what we do is we glue them with super glue and cotton pieces or even napkins, whatever. We soak the piece of cotton and that creates a bond between the wood and things like rocks or other pieces of wood. And in this way, we stabilize them so that when we put water, they don't float all the way to the surface, destroying our masterpiece that will win us the next AGA contest. Well, it doesn't always work like that. Sometimes we do our very best to attach that piece to the rocks, make sure the connections are stable, and wait for a day for that glue to dry, and still, sometimes the wood floats and takes with it all of our beautiful creation. Now, to redo everything is a drag, and that's an understatement. I would use a word that YouTube doesn't want me to use. No, I see black in front of my eyes when that happens, and it happens sometimes. Especially if you have like a layered type of a substrate, especially if you have some plants that are a pain to plant, like Monte Carlo, like other foreground plants. Oh gosh, I'm getting angry just thinking about it. It happens. Sometimes you get it right and nothing floats, which is great. Sometimes the freaking piece of wood floats attached to the rocks, especially if you're using like lava rock and stuff, which is not very heavy. I once dreamt that it happened. It's to the point where I have nightmares about it. Who else can relate? Let me know. Next up, this might be again a little bit more obscure because everybody likes to talk about all of the other algae that infests our tanks that are easy to get rid of, in my opinion, but nobody talks about Cladophora. Cladophora algae. There's nothing worse in an aquarium than Cladophora algae because it doesn't die. You have BBA, put a little bit of, I don't know, CKMXL, APT, or you can even go with hydrogen peroxide, put a little bit on it, reduce the flow. You know, it's usually an algae that forms in flowy regions. Even if it starts to like take over and it looks bad, you know, it does have something that clears it up. You know, it's bad. BBA is bad. Green hair algae does not look good. It's bad. They're all bad. But Cladophora. How do you get rid of Cladophora, you guys? I don't know. I don't know. And in my zebra tank, I cannot get rid of it. Good thing is I can remove it manually, so you can remove it manually. Bad thing is it comes back all the time. Now, I see that it grows best when you offer it conditions, and those conditions are identical to what plants like. So the better your plants do, the better the algae does as well. I don't know how to get rid of it. It's annoying. Now, this one is annoying. So if you have any suggestions of how to get rid of Cladophora algae, please let me know, because I'm scared. I don't know how to handle it. Next up, another annoyance, hard water line. And this will be very relatable for those of you who use tap water and the tap water is a little hard. Yeah, in my area it's hard as well. Whenever that water evaporates just a tiny little bit, like 2 millimeters, you have that line. And it doesn't go away with like normal sponges and stuff. No. One thing you should never do, please do not do that. Don't take a Scotch-Brite sponge and use the coarse side. Don't do that. You're gonna scratch the glass. In time, if not immediately. You're gonna mess up that glass like nothing else. What I find clears it up really fast is the Nerite Cleanator. It's not an advertisement. I'm not being sponsored to tell you about it. The Nerite doesn't know I exist, sadly. Sponsor me, I love you. But yeah, that sponge, the abrasive side of that sponge does an impeccable job really, really fast. And so far it has not scratched any of my tanks. Nothing super visible in any case. I did not find any other type of material that gets rid of that as easy. Now, sure, you can go in with some acids like lemon juice or vinegar and stuff, but I don't want to play with acid so close to the water, and that line forms, you know, as the tank runs. And I also cannot be like topping all of my tanks all of the time so I don't get that line. So that line appears. It is what it is. It appears. No matter how on top you are with topping up the water, it's gonna appear. Cleanator from the Nerite. And you're welcome. Let me know how much happier I made your life. Speaking about this subject, top up evaporation. I didn't used to be a fangirl of lidded tanks, but now I am. They do have their drawbacks. And a rimless tank with no lid looks absolutely amazing. You can do scapes outside, you can have plants in the tank. Like, there are so many benefits of having a rimless tank. It's beautiful, it's gorgeous, I love them. But one of the things that I hate about it is that I need to top it up. And since I do have a pretty dry environment and pretty warm environment, I have to top it off really often, and sometimes it gets on my nerves because I start to hear that filter or the water from the filter doing more noise than usual. I know I must do my top-ups again. So, you know, it's not that annoying, but sometimes it gets a little bit of an annoyance, and I never really got it or understood how much better life is without having to top up the tanks until I had the lidded tank. It's so much better. So I love lidded tanks. All right, number 9. We're gonna do 10 today. I have 20 something, and you can add more. We can do this as a series if you want. So number 9, something that really truly annoys me is I would call it, okay, it's my opinion that it is subpar filtration media. How many times have we ordered a super expensive external filter by a luxurious brand, whatever, and we open it up and like the filter media we see there is just ceramic rings, and it's not even like very porous ceramic. It's like, I don't know, or plasticky things that don't even have much of a surface area. I'm sure there will be people who say I do just fine with that media, and that's great, but I do have experience like with the difference and I did not expect it. So I had at some point 2 quarantines. One was running only on a sponge in the filter, and the other one I had a filter with some matrix in. I started both of them at the same time, put the same type of fish in them. One cycled like that, and it was like stable within a few days. I also added bacteria to them. One remained stable and clear like within a few days, and the other one with sponges, no, it almost, by the time the quarantine was done, it was starting to kind of like clarify and balance a little bit, but it did not balance in 2 weeks or something properly, while the matrix one balanced like within a few days. It was visible that, you know, even smell wise it was different. It was just different. So I was like, there is a difference. People are right. You know, when you use something, you don't see how it would be if you didn't use it, and I was just taking matrix for granted, which is one of, again, I'm not sponsored, but is one of the medium that I've been using for many years, and I like it, and I've always had good results, but I never experienced not using matrix, you know what I'm saying? Or Siporax, which is another more affordable medium, or I'm sure other media here that we can mention. There is a difference. Absolutely, there is a difference. I now see it. I know, I'm convinced personally. So when you spend so much money on these filters and you see like sponges and at best like one little bag of ceramic rings, which is better than sponges, but still, you know, it's not the most porous surface. Heck, you can give me like Leca at this point and it would be better. You know, why? And the plasticky things which have no pores, or they have, but like you can compare it with like matrix. I'm paying you so much money. Please include something better than that. I don't know. I get annoyed by that. I don't know why. Anybody else? And number 10. Gosh, this might be just me. I have reached a point in my life now, and I've lived a bit, where I do not stand loud filters. No. The hang on the back ones that have the motor outside, loud. Did I post the review? I don't know if I'm gonna post it. I bought an Oase hang on the back filter thinking it's gonna be so lovely and beautiful. It's the loudest thing of life. Simply I'm too sensitive. Why do they have to be so loud? I reverted back to internal filters. I got to a point where very loud filters simply are unacceptable anymore. Now, if you have a shop or you have a showroom or you have like a separate room like this one where you don't live but you just do stuff, maybe it's fine. Maybe, you know, if it's a louder room, maybe the sounds of a humming impeller are not so distracting. Maybe the vibrations the lid of the hang on the back filters make, maybe it's not so bad. Maybe you don't even hear it anymore. But if you have it in your home and it's silence because you just want to take a nap on the couch, you want to take a nap on the couch while looking at your beautiful tank and disconnect from the BS of the day, and you have that freaking bzzz hum. No. We want better. We want better. Anybody else? Is it just me? I think that is one of the worst things that I've come to like not tolerate anymore, a loud filter. Or a bunch of loud filters if you have multiple tanks. Side note, let me show you something. I got him, he has arrived, the Aquel filter, but I might just install it when I move. Is it worth like installing it now and having to move it like in a few weeks? I don't know. I might just run the Biomaster, which is noisy. I might just run him a little more. So stay tuned, I will make a final review on the Biomaster and all the pros and cons and my experience with it, and then a first impressions on the Aqua one. Please, please, please cross your fingers and toes for me that it's not as noisy as the Biomaster, because if it is, I'm just gonna get two Tetras. The Tetra is whisper silent. If Tetra can do it, so can other brands. Anyway, those are 10 of the things that I find annoying, like jokingly kind of annoying. I over-dramatize sometimes stuff just for the sake of entertaining. It's not that deep, you know, don't take it personally. But yeah, those are the things that annoy me, at least at the moment, about keeping aquariums. And I would like to know what are some that you find annoying, because who knows, maybe we can inspire people to make less annoying products. Maybe it helps somebody, I don't know. If it doesn't, it's at least entertaining. I find it entertaining to hear what people are annoyed with. It's just fun. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm curious to read your comments. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!